Lesson 5.3, Solving Multi-Step Inequalities. Essential question. How does solving a multi-step inequality compare to solving a multi-step equation? In this lesson, we're going to have problems just like we did in Chapter 2, where they were the couple and third wheel. There's multiple steps that we need to use to solve the problem. We also need to make sure that we remember that if you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequality symbol. That will be true for the remainder of this chapter. So this first one, we have negative 11y minus 13 is greater than 42. I'll start by doing my train tracks, and I'm going to circle my couple. My couple is the one with the variable, so negative 11y. The third wheel is the minus 13, so I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to add 13 to both sides. Bring down the negative 11y, bring down my inequality symbol. 42 plus 13 is 55. Now I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 11. Since I'm dividing by a negative, I have to flip my sign. So instead of greater than, it's going to switch to less than. 55 divided by negative 11 is negative 5. My variable's on the left-hand side, so I am good to go. Y is less than negative 5. 23 is greater than or equal to 10 minus 2x. Train tracks. My couple in this problem is not just the 2x, but negative 2x. You need to make sure that you keep that negative sign with the 2. It's very important. Now 10, since there's no symbol in front of it, 10 is positive. So that means I have to subtract 10 on both sides. Bring down the negative 2x. Bring down my inequality symbol. 23 minus 10 is 13. Break up the couple by dividing by a negative 2. Since I'm dividing by a negative, I have to flip. So instead of greater than or equal to, I'm going to flip it around to less than or equal to. 13 divided by negative 2 is negative 6.5. Now my variable's on the right and I want it on the left, so I'm going to rewrite it. My Pac-Man mouth is eating the x, so I want my Pac-Man mouth to eat the x. X is greater than or equal to negative 6.5 is my answer. There's a lot of steps that you've got to remember, so it's important to go very slowly and carefully. You have to flip the inequality if you multiply or divide by a negative, and you have to make sure you rewrite it at the end, in addition to all the couple and third wheel steps. X divided by negative 4 plus 11 is less than or equal to 3. Train tracks. My couple is the x over negative 4. My third wheel is the plus 11, so I'm going to minus 11 on both sides. Bring down the x over negative 4. Bring down my inequality. 3 minus 11 is negative 8. Now x divided by 4, the opposite of dividing is timesing by negative 4. Since I'm timesing by a negative, I have to flip. So I'm going to make that greater than or equal to negative 8 times negative 4, and negative times a negative makes a positive. My variable is already on the left, so I don't need to rewrite it, but I did have to flip the inequality symbol. 2/3 x plus 4 is less than 1. My couple is 2/3 x. My third wheel is plus 4, so I'll minus 4 on both sides. Bring down the 2/3 x. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. And then in order to get rid of the fraction, I have to times by the reciprocal. So times both sides by 3/2. I'm timesing by a positive, so I don't have to flip my inequality symbol. I leave it as less than. Now if I want to multiply a whole number and a fraction, I'll turn the whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. Negative 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 9 over 2 is negative 4.5. Or if you wanted to leave it as a fraction, that's fine also. X is less than negative 4.5 is my answer. Nine is greater than negative 4/3 x plus 1. My couple is the negative 4/3 x, so I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. Bring down the negative 4/3 x. 9 minus 1 is 8. Now to get rid of my fraction, I have to times by the reciprocal. So 4/3 is negative, so I still have to times it by a negative, but it'll be 3/4. Since I'm timesing by a negative, I have to flip. So this and this will make 1. Bring down the x. Flip my inequality sign around. Turn 8 into a fraction, 8 over 1. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. 4 times 1 is 4. Negative 24 divided by 4 is negative 6. Now you'll notice we have the variable on the right and we want it on the left. So I'll put the variable on the left, the negative 6 on the right. The Pac-Man mouth is eating the x, so the Pac-Man mouth needs to eat the x. X is greater than negative 6 is my answer. Summary. Homework is pages 298 through 300, numbers 3 through 5, 12 through 19.